Good evening, and welcome to the New Year edition of True Crime with the Bad Girl, the Playa, Dangerous Dave, and the President. I am Benny Scala, aka the Playa, and with me, as always, is my partner in True Crime. She is a New England Professional Wrestling Hall of Famer. She's Archie's mom, and somehow, despite her epic heel status, she was somehow able to gaslight Santa into leaving her major lootage under the Christmas tree. Now, that takes very special
Nice.
kind of charisma. And trust me, folks, this lady has it. And I can only be talking about my very bad co-host, the one and only Boston bad girl, Brittany Brown. Brittany, how are you?
I am doing well, thank you. How are you?
I have to say one of the most pleasant things I do all week is do these intros. So hopefully you like this.
Absolutely.
All right, great.
Very fitting.
And much to my absolute delight, we're once again joined by former International Wrestling Federation champion and Hall of Famer Dangerous Dave Starr. Like the bad girl, Dangerous Dave was a heel of epic proportions. But despite his legendary heel status, Dave has a very beautiful family that we had the pleasure of meeting on our Grinch episode last week. Dave, how are you, my friend?
If I was any better, I'd be looking over my shoulder to see where the devil was. I'm doing great. Hi to everybody out there in podcast land. And I just want to say, as I always do, I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me.
Absolutely. And last but certainly not least, we do have a baby face on our all-star panel. In the interest of balance, he is the Prince of Personal Training. He is Muscles Marinara, and he is the president of Thursday Night. He is the one and only Phil Decesare. Phil, welcome back.
Thanks, guys. It's been a while. Yeah, but I've been.
Yeah.
We missed you, but we're really glad to be back.
Amen to that. Love
Yeah.
a good crime. I love several good crimes.
Oh,
you know.
yeah. We've got more to come, though. All right, guys, but we do have a hell of a case for you this evening. But first, a quick word from our sponsor. Folks, if you've been injured in a car accident, please reach out to our good friend, Adam Burbrower at the Burbrower Law Firm. Adam and his crew, they do things the right way with great results. And not only is Adam a great attorney, but the dude has framed pictures of Ernie the Cat Lad and the unpredictable Johnny Rods in his office. Now, I think that's very cool. And if you see Adam at the community pool trying to nail that triple Lindy, it's not difficult. It's impossible. You'll notice superstar Billy Graham on his back and Bret the Hitman Hart tattooed on his chest. Adam's not only the man of the hour, the man with the legal power, too sweet to be sour. He is also and he loves this nickname, the excellence of elocution. And besides being a great guy, Adam's a true crime aficionado and an avid WWF historian. Who else can get you a great settlement while breaking down Silvano Sousa's greatest matches, which probably takes about all. Check out Adam at burbrowerlaw.com and follow him on Facebook. And don't forget to tell him the bad girl, the Playa, Dangerous Dave, and the president sent you. So, guys, I call tonight's case a true crime pickle. And I say that because this one's a real dilly.
It is.
I actually stole that from Foster Brooks when he roasted Don Rickles. I got to be completely honest. So, bad girl, why don't you open this one, lest we be accused of jerking anyone's gherkin?
All right.
A pickle.
On August 5th, 2009, former South Florida escort and newlywed Dalia Dippolito was called by Boynton Beach police at around 6:40 a.m. while working out at the local LA Fitness. Police tell Dalia that something happened at her home and to come home ASAP.
You know what that is,
Dalia
right?
comes home and is told that her husband, Michael, was shot and killed inside their home. A hysterical Dalia is taken to the police station, ostensibly to give them some info to help capture the killer. A few minutes into her interrogation, the door is open and guess who's there?
Who's there?
Her dead husband, Michael.
Wow. That's definitely not kosher. All right, no more pickles, right?
Holy Lazarus.
Yeah. So, Bad Girl just gave you most of the finish. We're going to do it in reverse. We're going to now give you the storyline. So, Bad Girl, why don't you take it away?
Okay. On October 4th, 2008, 38-year-old Michael Dippolito calls an escort service while his then wife was out of town. About a half hour later, Dalia Mohamed knocks on his door.
Well, guys, I guess you could say she came very quickly. I don't know if you caught the screen.
I did.
Oh yeah.
All right. So I mean that was quick. And let's 38-year-old now Michael. He does become a very sympathetic figure in this case, but the man is not a saint, and we're gonna get into it. And number one, at the time he was married and his wife was out of town, so just calling up the escort for a side piece. But there's the little hooker Dalia, and 35 minutes later, that's amazing. Gotta compliment her on her promptness, right?
Pretty good indeed. Yeah, Domino, almost as good as Domino's. My goodness.
I know, right? Jimmy John's usually they come that quick. Now, like I just said, Michael's been portrayed as a sympathetic figure, but not exactly a choir boy. He was arrested in 2001 for stock fraud and was sentenced to 2 years in prison and 28 years of probation. He was ordered to pay. Phil, correct me if I'm wrong here. I think it's $191,000 in restitution.
Yeah, I think it is. 191,000, Benny.
So when he met Dalia, he was like 6 or 7 years in.
Yeah, like attracts like, I think, Benny, and I think that's what we're going to see throughout this situation. Like attracts like. Yeah.
Now, does any and the chat room as well, because I don't know the answer to this. What they said he was an entrepreneur. He seemed like very Ozzy or Ozzy Nelson like. Did he have a job outside the home?
I think he's like most politicians, Benny. Never really had a real job. It almost seems like he started as a grifter. So I didn't read any reference to, and I think they would have made a point to refer to a profession if indeed he had one. You know?
And now I don't think I'm kind of assuming she quit the escort thing. After they met.
Well, they're not clear about that, are they? Could this be like a 2-income household or something?
Right.
Stranger things, man. But but by all accounts, seemingly she did put the kibosh on that. So
that was nice.
Yeah.
All right, Phil, you got the next line.
All right. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, yes. Michael was filing for divorce within 2 weeks of meeting Dalia. On February 2nd, 2009, the two of them were married. On March 12th, about 5 weeks later, Michael received a visit from his probation officer, and apparently the police had received a tip that Michael was selling steroids from his home. There we go. There's a profession, I suppose. He's in the supplement business, I think.
He was a gym guy, though, wasn't he?
Yeah. And, a lot of chicanery can go down there. Yeah. But, looking from at that picture there, it doesn't look like he did much of the gas. But actually, we've seen him, in different pictures.
Maybe some MicroPro or,
It's a good thing that stuff doesn't work. So 5 weeks later, Michael received a visit from his probation officer, and apparently the police had received the tip that he was selling the gas. He had his own little gas station set up at home, apparently. Michael allowed the police again. This guy loves to let the police search. He did, as we're going to see, ahead. He allowed police to search his home. Nothing was found. But per Michael, this is the first time the police officer had ever shown up at his home unannounced. So
right, so we're talking it's a good 6 years, and I'm assuming as part of his probation, I would think at least because that was a felony, wasn't it? He's got to be at least a once a month check-in, maybe more than that.
I would hope so.
Even though it is Florida, I think it's still the penalties are pretty stiff. Things are a little different down there legally. Jurors or juries consist of 6 people versus 12. So an interesting thing we'll see to that.
I can tell you because I worked for 10 years for Pasco County down here, and one of my departments was misdemeanor probation.
Sure.
And they did have to, even the misdemeanor people had to check in monthly. and pay
Wow.
$55. Yeah, so I would imagine at the very least the guy's checking in once a month, maybe more, and for 6 years, pays his restitution,
Yep.
makes all his visits, and all of a sudden now he's got a knock on his door, and so what's next, Brittany?
After this incident, Michael and Dalia went on a romantic getaway in Palm Beach. Michael was again approached by officers who had received a tip that he was dealing drugs. His car was searched, and again, nothing was found. Michael started to wonder how the police knew his whereabouts.
Yeah, I mean, who would know? I mean, besides him, her, and maybe her mother or something like that. Who the hell knew where they were? It was just for a weekend.
Exactly.
And you got to knock on your hotel room door.
And this is also a time
Wasn't too
before,
bright.
yeah, and really cell phones couldn't really, track, I don't think, or at least, we couldn't track each other on cell phones. I don't think at that point.
Yeah, we're talking like early 2009, right?
Yeah.
15 years ago. Technology isn't what it is now. So
absolutely. So it's even more amazing that they were able to track him so readily and specifically.
So the light is starting to flicker on in the brain there. I mean, and what are they? I think they're married like 5 weeks now, and already he's got 2 visits from the police that he never had before. I don't know. I mean, I would start to wonder, but then 2 weeks later, Michael was approached a 3rd time. I guess they were out to eat, and now this time they did find something. I think they found a little packet or a little bag of was it heroin or cocaine?
No, I think it was cocaine.
Cocaine. It was in a bag.
Yeah, and I think this was actually.
I think it was in a cigarette.
It was somewhere. It might have been under a wheel well, maybe in the back. I want to think it was somehow tucked externally, which obviously could have been something planted, as seemingly is the case here. So I think it was. I seem to recall, and I might be wrong. There could be a cigarette pack or something involved too, but I think it was somehow tucked in the rear of the vehicle. So
right,
pretty suspicious.
Now,
What's
I don't
that,
know how
Dave?
this happened.
It was in the rear wheel.
Oh, rear wheel. Okay, very good. Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah.
But now this time he's able to actually convince the police that the drugs were planted and he was being set up, and they actually bought it. And so now on the way home, it's thinking like, well, how the hell did the police know that I was at this restaurant? I'm sure he figured, only Dalia and I knew where we were going. So now he realizes that she's involved or maybe involved, and he confronts her. And now the show that I watched said she was driving on the freeway, and she accelerated to 190. I would hope that's an exaggeration. And she started screaming at him. And I'd be fearing for my life.
Yeah.
I could believe that erratic sort of, yeah. I'm totally believing that. I didn't hear that, but I totally believe you, and I believe that is in perfect match with her character and her issues for sure.
I mean, now you're married 2 months, and like all this, you got 3 police visits. You got an insane woman driving 190 miles an hour on the freeway, screaming at you.
Yeah. And, it's interesting too, Benny. And, Michael is not making any type of connection now. He's under this deluded state, and in this manipulated state. But, what's also interesting is the police, they keep on getting these phone calls and these tips and this sort of thing. And you can't tell me for a minute they don't know from where it's really coming. Okay.
Right.
So already they've got to be thinking, not only, this guy's in a situation, and this woman is just, setting him up for something. So, let's keep an eye on them, very suspicious.
I'm thinking, I agree with you. And I'm thinking that's probably why they let him go, and they didn't arrest him that night.
Absolutely.
They had to be onto her by then. I'm thinking.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah.
I think that she thought she was, quite the mastermind, and I think she was lacking a few besides sanity cells. I think she was lacking some. Put it this way, I don't think Mensa would have been knocking on her door anytime soon.
No, certainly not. And
Bree's trying to get the Papa John's guy, just so you know.
Really very nice.
All right. So what happened next, Phil? It gets even better.
Okay, let's go back to the notes here. Yes, they found the drugs in the car. Right, we went over that, and so things are looking suspicious. The very next morning, though, after the third police encounter, Dalia announces to Michael that she's pregnant. Okay, dun dun dun.
Yeah, I'm sure he really well. From all accounts, though, it did make him happy. I mean, I do believe that despite his shortcomings and his checkered past,
Yeah,
I do think that he really did love her. I think she really had him hooked.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
And importantly, and I think you're bringing up a good point, Benny. You're not saying it exactly, but Michael, he has some degree of empathy within. He does have that, and again, it's a human quality and almost unique to humans. Although some animals have it, but some humans don't have it, and I think that's the case in this dynamic and with Dalia. I don't think there's any empathy in there, and I think as we look further and see this unfold, we're going to see that.
There's none with her. Dave, you've been kind of quiet. What do you think so far?
Well, there's an old saying: "Water seeks its own level," and I'm gonna tell it the way it is. I think they both deserved each other.
Well, I mean, let's go back. I mean, you're a married man, and what are you doing? Like you're lonely one night, and you call a hooker, or an escort. Let me rephrase that. But you're not without fault either.
He's in this position because of himself, in being a pig and having no morals or values to himself. And let's not forget, why he's on probation is because he stole everybody's money. All right, through stock?
Right? Stock fraud.
Yeah, he stole everybody's money. So you know what? I have no sympathy for him whatsoever. And then to do that to your wife while she's out of town, to me, they both deserved each other. He got away with one because she got caught. But if she didn't get caught and was an actual hitman and actually killed him, you know what? They just deserved each other. He was a scumbag. I don't want to talk about anybody or call anybody names, but to me, I watched 2 specials over the weekends with my kids on this, two crime things. He was a scumbag. I mean, come on, she's a hooker. How do you fall in love with a hooker? You know what I mean? I mean,
Pretty Woman, Richard Gere, and it's just a movie,
She was an opportunist. Let's face it, she was, for some parts, she was pretty intelligent. She almost could have pulled it off, but she couldn't because she was she got the cop. But her businesslike thoughts were pretty good, right? I mean, she got his condo. I don't think he ever got his condo back, right?
We're going to get to that in a second. I mean, but let's retrace the timeline really quick. He calls her, and he doesn't know this woman from a hole in the wall. October 4th, right? Within 2 weeks, he's divorcing his wife, and within 6 weeks after that, they're already getting married. That's pretty quick.
I'd like to know exactly what prison she's in, so I can talk to her, because I'd like to know what she did to this guy. Like, what the hell did you do to this guy that he fell in love with you so quick and divorced his wife and wanted to marry you? Like, something special with her finger, or can you tell me what?
The clinical, and I don't know if it's a clinical term, Dave and Britt and Benny, but it's called love bombing, and it's what someone like her who has this disorder, this illness, we'll call it. I mean, depravity, call it what you want, does, and just overwhelms him with all kinds of everything, before the real true self.
She's not even that good looking. I mean, I could see, let's say she was hot. Let's just say she was hot. And we all know what a hot woman looks like. Her face, her body. You see him of course, Benny probably sees him on the Playa probably sees him on the beach down there in Florida. I could see somewhat if she was, stunning. But she's not even like she's just woof, 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 a dog, you know.
I mean, I am the
I
man,
mean,
I'll take the opposite. Yeah.
No, I would kick her out of bed. I would.
Would you?
Yep. But to each his own. I mean, if we're all the same, everybody drive a white Volkswagen, right? So
yeah.
But
I think she cleans up well, but I think it goes beyond that. But it goes beyond that. It has to do with just this devious, manipulative.
And you know what? Phil, that's a good. Maybe because we know what we know about her.
Yeah,
it's made her less attractive, like in my eyes.
Sure, I think that's a big part of it. And I think it's great.
Think, when you see the picture, like she looks very cute there.
Yeah,
she does. She looks cute. I mean, it's just you know that she's got that rotten, cold black heart, underneath that shirt.
He never got his condo back, right? He lost all that, right? He never got that back.
Don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. I mean, we're going to get to that in 1 second here because the same day, I think that she told him she was pregnant. She texts Mike Stanley. That's Mike Stanley, handsome devil, not next lover. And I was trying to find the text string, but it was like quadruple X-rated. She wanted, she manipulated men. She had this guy, she'd call him up if she needed something like money or a favor, and the guy would, whatever she wanted, he couldn't do it fast enough. And then the minute she got what she needed, she dumped him until the next time she needed something. So she tells him that she wants to hook up with him, and it was very graphic. I mean, graphic. But she has him call Michael, posing as an attorney.
Yeah.
This is what Dave was getting to, and telling him that it would actually assist Michael's probation if he signed the house over to Dalia. And, shame on Michael, dumbass. He complied. And once he did that, once Michael signed the papers, she never spoke to Mr. Stanley again.
Amazing.
Right.
And in doing so forms a new enemy, if you will, or someone who, is spurned and perhaps would like to have revenge in some way,
Well,
right. On the podcast on the True Crime I was watching too, he said that he called his lawyer a few times, and the lawyer kept telling him, "I don't have you. There's nothing was wired to me. Nothing was wired to me." And that's when he finally caught on and knew that she took what she took.
Well, wasn't that the case where I think he told, he said, or she told him, I think, I have 91,000. If you come up with 100, we'll pay it off early. And he somehow came up with the 100,000, gave it to her, and he never saw that money again.
Right.
And he signed his condo over to her.
Right. Yeah. Well,
what's
the Mike Stanley, the ex-lover, convinced him rather to sign the condo over. That we were talking backstage before the show and I really love the woman, ODB.
Yes, she's great.
This girl is ODB, one disgusting bitch.
Yeah.
I feel like doing an obligatory crotch grab after that. That's what ODB used to do.
I'm an accountant. What word could we give this woman that just uses people? Like this guy is, totally at her beck and call. I mean, he must not have a brain in his head to not see that all she's doing is using him.
Awful.
Again, classic. And I don't know what labels of narcissism, grandiose, malignant.
That was the word I was looking for. Yep.
Yeah, but all of that I think applies here. Just to be able to do that, to see everything as transactional and people not as people. That's what's amazing,
I got a nickname for her. I got a good nickname for her.
I bet you do, Dave.
The only thing I can think of to take these guys over is I would just nickname her Deep Throat. Because I don't know what the hell magic she had over these guys.
You're probably on the right track. Well, without
Yeah, I
getting.
think you are too. I think you are too.
Yeah.
Can I say that on the? Can I say that on the podcast?
What's
I
that?
think so.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I nickname it Deep Throat.
Right. No, I agree. So, Brittany,
DT.
what's next?
So Dahlia ultimately decides she wants Michael gone for good. On July 31st, 2009, she contacts another ex-lover, Mohamed Shihadeh.
I think it's Shihadeh.
Yep.
Shihadeh, okay, asking him if he knows a hitman. He goes to the Boynton Beach Police Department and informs them of this. Good for him.
Now,
Thank God.
apparently, now, Phil, were they lovers, or was because she when her 2020 interview, she said they were just acquaintances, but I have the feeling it was more than that.
I've heard that it went far deeper than that. I did too. The original story has him pegged as just one of her lovers, one of her harem, if you will, because there is a harem of sorts.
Right.
Call it side pieces, call it whatever you want, but that's
Yeah.
really what's happening. And they get cycled in and out, and they serve a purpose, and then they go back to the. It's like dry cleaning when you go to pick up your shirts, you get that, it goes around and, it's just like that. She's just picking people off like a shirt, and just wearing it and then throwing it away. Fascinating.
Yeah.
I mean, awful, horrible, but fascinating too,
Jay Will has the comment, she does not use generally accepted accounting principles. I would say it's probably an accurate statement. But I mean, thank God this guy went to the cops, number one. And I thought I read something that he turned up dead a few years ago.
I believe so, yeah.
The Mohammed guy, I think he passed away in 2021. And he was a young guy. He was in his early 40s.
Yeah.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Probably had syphilis.
Oh my goodness, perhaps.
I didn't know he died. They didn't say that on the specials I watched over the weekend that he had passed away.
But I mean, to me, he was the hero. I mean, because he could have done anything, but he went right to the cops.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a pretty impressive feat again to do that. I mean, I don't think any of us would think twice about it, but I mean, considering how deep this guy was in the situation and everything else, I think it was pretty impressive that he did that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, God only knows what would have happened if, he didn't do that and she found a hitman. But so police actually arranged for Shihadeh to be wired and have him arrange a meeting at a local mobile gas station the following day. So she again expresses her desire for Michael to be offed, and she gives him $1,200 for the hitman to, I got to use a Bob Backlund word, procure a gun.
Yeah, and I'll probably add, Dahlia meets up with Whitey Jean, I should say, okay, who's actually an undercover detective posing as a hitman on that afternoon of August 3rd at the local CVS. Interesting place to meet.
Right,
yeah. CVS.
Right.
Within seconds of Dahlia entering Jean's car, she says, "I need it done this week," quote unquote. And again, look at the language there. She doesn't specifically say what, but it's already understood. When the hitman wants to give her one last chance to back out, of course, as they do, she says, "I'm positive, like 5,000% sure." So that's going to be a haunting figure. As we see.
How matter of fact, like if somebody says, "Yeah, I can blow your husband away in like 2 days," and like I would think even somebody with like some semblance of a conscience would say, "Well, like maybe could you do it like in a month? This way, like we can get all prepared." You know what I mean? Like, I can do it this Wednesday. Okay, no problem.
Yeah. 5,000% sure.
Yeah, I'm 5,000. I mean, that's really, that's really sure, right?
There's no room for interpretation, I don't think.
I'll tell you a mistake she made too was the morning when they called her to tell her in the street there that your husband's dead, and that she didn't physically go into that house to
I
see that
know.
he was dead. They took her away. I would have went in that house if someone told me my wife was dead. I want to see my wife,
Yeah,
I
Yeah.
would, I would,
I want.
I
I
would
want to put. Yeah. No, I agree with you, Dave.
if she had gone,
Yeah.
if she had gone in that house, she might have had a chance maybe to get off, but she never went into that house. And that's when they brought her down to the station and she made a
No,
fool out of
very,
herself.
very, very staged reaction that we're going to get into in a little bit. But
Yeah.
so now Whitey gets the address and a key from Dalia,
Mhm.
and he tells her that this is going to happen 2 days later. Like I said, on the morning of August 5th, he instructs her to go to her local LA Fitness, and by the time she got back, the hit would be completed, just like that.
You know what I also heard too in what happened in the car with before with, and I don't know if we went over. Did we go over this with Mohammed had a gun in his glove compartment, I guess, and Dahlia knew where it was and grabbed it and said, "I'm going to use it and do it myself." And then that's I guess when he said something about getting a hitman. So
Oh, I
that's
did
when they
not know
discussed
that.
it. Yeah,
All
there
the
was another
shows I
factor.
watched, they didn't show that. No.
She came into. Yeah, I know. I was surprised, but she had the gun and allegedly, and he got it back from her, saying that he would help with this. But
Wow.
but
He
that
really was a
action
hero.
alone, I think, shows that she likely would. And again, what we see, I think, already, even up to this point, and I think we'll see even beyond here, is just this notion that she has that she is just so skilled at manipulation, and all with men, by the way, as you see. But and she thinks that she basically can get away with anything. There's just this hubris, she thinks she's so smart. It's amazing, and we're going to see more of that. But I digress.
She even remarked to the hitman, "There's no way they're going to point the finger at me."
Did he have a life? What I'm confused about is why she wanted him dead. She already had his condo. She
Well,
already
she
had,
could.
I think
She
she wanted to
said,
move on to the next guy, is what I think.
yeah,
Yeah.
but
because I
her
don't know if he had a
rationale.
life. I don't know if he had a
Yeah.
life insurance policy but because she already had everything that he had. She already had it.
I guess it wouldn't
he
go
must
to her
have.
unless he was dead, unless he died, then it
Well,
really wouldn't go to
yeah,
her, I guess.
she had the house, the
Yeah.
condo, and she had $100,000 of his money. So yeah, I mean, and then he was going to be dead, so she could just move on to the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah. With the
Wow.
condo and an extra $100,000.
Right. All right. I think
know?
Brittany, I think it's your turn.
Yes. So Dahlia leaves for the gym as instructed at approximately 5:45 a.m. on August 5th. After she leaves, Boynton Beach police construct an elaborate crime scene at the Dippolito residence. Police also contact Michael Dippolito, who is asleep, to inform him of his wife's plot.
I mean, can you imagine? I actually saw, like, when they were talking to him, he looked like totally stunned.
Oh
Like,
my God, yes.
I mean, I can't believe this. Like, total. I mean, and that was sincere. I mean, total shock.
Well, he was deluding himself all the while. He was just not believing any of this. He was I think just consciously trying to make that effort. And then finally, for the police to come and confront him with the evidence, he had no choice but to believe at this point. And that's why I think it just likely just, rattled him, so much.
Oh,
But,
sure.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Phil, talk about and this is something I didn't understand, because about the cops reality show.
Yeah.
They happen to be at the scene, but how? Like,
A maybe another twist of fate of sorts. It's interesting too. I mean, it's interesting how this TV show factors into things, including a potential. I don't want to call it an alibi, but in a way, an alibi where Dahlia, one of her defenses was that they were trying to stage something, a controversial scene. In this case, stage the murder to kind of spawn a reality TV show. With those thoughts in mind too, which again is kind of sick. If there's any degree of truth that Michael was in on this too, but it creates another question down the line here. Were they doing this in concert together to create, create a controversy to again to spawn a reality show, because again let's look back in time a little bit here. Reality shows were quite the thing back then, as you recall.
Oh yeah,
you know,
big time. It was like,
this is
yeah.
YouTube was in its
that was a very
infancy.
popular one.
Yeah, so they thought that was just going to be another way to hit the lottery, and but again, it will ultimately make for a good alibi or a plausible excuse or something, as far as the whole thing goes. But it gets a little more complicated and interesting. And at 6:41, I think this is where we're going. Dalia misses a call from Detective Frank Ranzi. She returns the call just a moment later and is told by Manzi that there's been an incident at the residence and that she should come home as soon as possible. And there she is.
Right.
Yeah. It's interesting there too. And we don't have the video, but what you see and don't see in that picture is very interesting, This is the situation where the police break the news, again, the false news, as part of this. What do we call this? What do we call this? This a mousetrap, maybe?
Yeah.
Called a mousetrap, where they inform her that her husband Michael had been killed at the house, and that she couldn't go up there. And they were also asking her if she knew of anybody who had it in for Michael. But what we don't see here, and it has been recorded and we've all watched already, is the performance that Dalia gives in response
Oh my God. Yeah, I'm glad you
to the
said
news.
That. Yeah.
Okay. Again, perfunctory. When most people hear news this stunning, they're stunned, okay? A moment of shock, several moments of shock, maybe minutes and minutes of disbelief, right? Incredulous, some might be, not believing it at all. Her response was so immediate, okay? So dramatic, yet not. One thing she did, and you see there, she leaned into the officer with the hand and everything, and he wasn't sure that he's going to get a hug or what, but she didn't quite go that far. She stopped right there, with the performance. And
right.
And I think that was a key. I think when jurors saw that, they picked up on that. But that's a little down the line there.
Well,
but a curious scene.
Did anybody else besides me? I mean, it seemed like when he was telling her, and he said, "Your husband has been," and she started crying before he even said the word "killed."
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, it could have been injured. It could have been kidnapped. I mean, she just started bawling before he even said the word "killed." And I didn't see a whole lot of tears. I heard a lot of sobbing.
I think no, you're exactly right. Go ahead, Dave.
No tears at all. No tears at all. None.
No.
She was as the killer would say, her performance was the shits.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Here's the situation too, and again, the wrestling element here, these guys are kind of like they're trying to create these little works here, and it's like and then ultimately the question is going to be, did they actually construct a work to spawn their show or what have you, and did her husband turn on her and just create this situation? Because I think that's an angle that she does take down the line. But remember Hamlet, Shakespeare. The play's the thing that'll catch the conscience of the king. So you put on a performance, you watch the king's reaction, or in this case, the queen's, and that's going to tell you a lot about, her level of guilt, or, her lack of empathy, and it's very curious. That was the play that caught the conscience of the king there, and I think it's a pivotal part here. But there are more pivotal parts to come.
But the irony to me of this picture, though, is that all of them are acting. She's acting like like a grieving widow, and they're acting like what the hell's wrong with this bitch? When is she going to fuck up?
This thing is a shoot within a work or something. I don't know. It's
a work shoot work. I mean,
it was a great ruse. That's what the cops came up with. A great ruse.
No,
to
but I
to,
mean,
to get.
literally, she's playing the grieving, very fresh widow, and the guy's trying to be sympathetic, trying to act like she is a victim when she's anything but that.
Yeah, and again, as you point to her reaction, Benny, it came again. It came early, and it came so early. You noticed, and I didn't even notice that he didn't tell her Michael's fate at the time. She just burst out
Right.
like that he was dead already, and
Yeah.
and again, no moment of being stunned, shocked, disbelief, or minutes. Some people think it's they just won't believe that
I
until
mean,
they.
maybe the bullets would have broken some Tupperware. I mean, she didn't give him a chance.
Yeah, it's it's amazing. So
Yeah.
the odyssey continued from there, with that situation, and of course, as we know, the police eventually brought Michael out.
Right.
And I don't mean to jump ahead. I want to let you guys,
Well, I mean,
guys
I
do
think, I
that
think
too.
they had already absconded with Michael. I think he was already at the police station. Yeah, Brittany, why don't you go into the next one? Because, now you got Dalia in the interrogation room.
Yeah. So while she was being interrogated, the police bring Whitey Jean into the room. They falsely tell Dahlia that they caught him leaving their home. Detective Paul Sheridan asks Dahlia if she has ever seen him, and she says no. She's
What
never
really
seen him
struck
before.
me, I mean, this woman, just could bold-faced lie without
Yep.
even cracking one iota. I mean, she had seen the guy. I think she spent, I think it was 45 minutes in the car with him discussing the hit.
Yep.
You see, you're talking about somebody that, you talked about murdering your husband. I mean, of course she's got to say no. What is she going to say?
Of course.
Right.
I
But
mean,
yeah,
that cop, the husband there, Michael, should give. That cop was the key to the whole ruse.
the
Was
hitman,
the
right?
the one that was in the car pretending he was the hitman. He was the whole ruse. He's the one that really made this whole case, because without him making her believe that he was a hitman, this would never happen. He was
Right.
really the key to the whole case, in my opinion.
He really, he played it to the, I mean, he was very, very good. I was very impressed.
Yeah.
I mean, you kind of like, you don't realize like that. I mean, this is actually real life. We watch it, on YouTube, but like this actually happened. This guy's actually, talking to this woman about killing her husband. And I mean, I thought he played it masterfully, but the detective, I really like, Paul Sheridan, that he starts off, as a baby face, asking her a bunch of questions. And I did notice that when she was in the interrogation room, she was trying to like throw a whole bunch of people. Well, I know a lot of people don't like him. I know he ripped a lot of people off. He's paying this restitution, but these people don't like him, blah, blah, blah. I mean, already trying to divert attention away from her. But then I think he left the room for a bit. After Whitey Jean came and went, he left. And then, she does a very brief, very phony cry. I think she probably watched a lot of reality or a lot of true crime shows. And she knew that the camera would be on her. So she had to like do that little performance, right? That little outburst. But then he comes back and he turns hardcore, right? And he informs Dahlia that she's under arrest for solicitation of murder. And he opens the door to the room, and guess who's there? Michael. And he shows her that he's still alive and well. And this is what kills me, though. Like the way Michael, come here, like it just sickened me. That
I
like,
know.
and I mean, she completely denied everything. I didn't do anything. I didn't. And he's like, what do you mean? I heard you say it. I know what you heard. And I know what you saw, but I didn't do it. Like, okay, then what was an illusion? Like,
At that point, what are you going to do? I mean, there's nothing. You have no defense. What else are you going to do but just say he was? Just deny it.
But I mean, the guy. It just happened that day, and the guy. I mean, Michael saw it, and she saw it, and I mean, how do you deny that? You got to be one cool bitch. I mean,
yeah, and she used even the passive phrase, "It didn't happen. It didn't happen," and that's what we call gaslighting in terms of all in the context. I mean, that's a word that's gained such traction, and rightly so, as the number of people who are afflicted, so to speak, are probably on the rise, and we're seeing more of this, the gaslighting anyway. So that's textbook example, and in perfect keeping with her issues, I would suggest. And she actually, again, and people I think who suffer from these delusions actually get to a point where they convince themselves they actually don't, see it as a lie. It's like that George Costanza, what did he said something about lying, something really good. If you believe it, it's not a lie.
He
right?
says, Jerry, if you believe it, it's not a lie.
Exactly. And I think that's the case. I think that's exactly the case here. So, and so what happened? Well, it wasn't Sheriff Roscoe P. Coltrane, but she was cuffed and stuffed at that point, and rightly so.
Even that, I mean, I don't see any tears. Yeah.
No.
Crocodile tears.
And to me, this was the ultimate. As I prepared for this podcast and watched shows, I disliked this woman more and more. But this was what sealed it for me. Not that I needed anything else, but she uses her phone call from jail. And who does she call? The guy she tried to have killed, her husband, right? She calls him from the Palm Beach County Jail, and she asks for his help. And then she gets pissed off when he won't help her. You're not helping me. You fucking try to kill me. Like, are you serious? I mean, he was
right.
He was going to help her. He was going to help her. He was. But what he wanted her to do for him to get her, she wanted a lawyer. That's what she wanted. But what he wanted was turn my condo back over to me, put the deed of the condo back in my name, and I'll go get you a lawyer. And she refused to do that.
That's right.
That's what he said. Give me my condo back, put the deed in my name again, and I'll help you get a lawyer. And she refused to do that.
Yep. That's right.
Yeah, she had her chance. I mean, that would have been, I'll help you, but you got to help me help you, right?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Which really you didn't do anything to earn it anyway. Give it back. It's mine. Give it back to me.
Sure.
You con me into signing it over to you anyway. So just do the right thing. Give me back what's mine, and I'll help you.
What a douchebag! Yep. Most people in that position would have said, "Okay, I'll turn it back over to you. Go get me a lawyer." But she refused to do that.
Right.
Refused. So she goes on trial in 2011. Her lawyer uses the idiotic defense that the whole thing was a ploy to get discovered on reality TV, with Michael a willing participant. Which
I don't know if you guys know or not that I am very good friends with John McEnroe. Johnny Mac, the tennis great from the 80s.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and him and I chatted about this earlier today. And when he heard about her lawyer's defense, this is what he said.
You can't be serious, man. You cannot be serious.
I agree with you. I'm not really friends with John McEnroe.
That's so funny.
He did grow up about 5 minutes from where I went to college at St. John's University in Jamaica. I think he was from Douglastown, Queens.
Very nice.
Oh,
I loved back then when it was McEnroe and Bjorn Borg.
And Lendl and all those guys. Yeah.
I mean,
I used to watch, Benny. My Nana was a big fan. Oh,
yeah, I watched a ton of tennis.
Yeah,
and
I watched a lot.
Borg had the most epic battles.
Absolutely.
You talk about opposites, right? Like McEnroe, the hothead.
Yeah.
Borg was like a brain surgeon, so composed. But what competition? That's when they went away, I think my interest for tennis went away. But yeah,
cool name, cool look, Bjorn Borg. It was like wrestling, and then you had McEnroe, the constant complainer. The crybaby. Oh my goodness, awesome.
After Ash, he was pretty good.
But I mean, joking aside, seriously, that's your defense? But what are they going to do,
Benny? I mean, the lawyer did what? Okay, the lawyer's getting paid. He's sitting there saying, "Look at my dopey client caught on camera." What the hell is he going to do? So he's got to come up with some dopey thing to earn his money. he did. I thought he did the best he could. What else was he gonna do? He had no defense, really. But
Right.
he's got to make a living. What else was he gonna do? I don't know what else the guy could have done.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
know.
he really tried to make some chicken soup out of some like really bad
Yeah,
chicken
I mean,
shit.
as long as
Yeah.
the check's clear.
Right.
Right.
Well, she had the dough to pay him, right? I mean, not that it was
She had
her.
him, yeah. But
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sitting there and I got a dopey client that's caught on camera. I mean, what the hell? How am I going to defend her? I'll just come up with some dopey story, and as long as the check is in the bank, I think that's the position he was in, her attorney.
Right.
I think so too. Yeah.
So, I mean, she's found guilty, right, of solicitation and sentenced to 20 years in prison. So we figured, and that's the end of it, right, Phil?
No. In fact, that is just the beginning. It's the first of 3 proceedings, from what I recall. And as I take a gander at the notes, let's see. In 2014, an appeals court throws out the first conviction due to improper jury selection, and she's actually released on house arrest, which means she wears a lovely little anklet, a little ankle bracelet too. And I understand that her house arrest, and I don't see it here, confined her just to the house and to the back deck. So she had to seek special permission to go off premises for anything, doctor's appointments, that sort of thing. So a curious thing. So she is under house arrest after the appeal.
Now, that did not stop her, correct me if I'm wrong, from getting knocked up, though, right? For real?
Right.
Totally. Yeah.
Right, she did get pregnant, but she was at her mother's house. That's where she was on house arrest. She was at her mother's house. Mother had a nice house. Mother had a nice house. I saw that house.
I mean, how do you monitor? I guess they really just track her activities. But
I mean, I guess there's some things you can't, you can say you can't drink, you can't do drugs, and that sort of thing, I believe. But as far as that, I don't know that you can legislate against that or what have you. But apparently you can't. And if you could, she wasn't going to be listening anyway. But
Right.
So indeed, yes, she has become with child, and for a while, and that again, one has to wonder: is this not something else, purposeful, a la? Who was that? Elizabeth, what was her name? Holmes. Was it Elizabeth Holmes? The one at that giant medical company who ultimately was arrested for fraud, and she's in jail, but she did get pregnant while in jail, interestingly, or on her way. What the hell is the name of that company? It'll come to me. But regardless, the idea, is potentially there that this situation was created somehow to maybe help further her quest for freedom,
Yeah. That sounds that way. Oh, man. Very sad news from the chat room. J. Will.
What?
R.I.P. Linda Lavin. Oh, man.
Yes.
Oh, man.
Yeah, Alice.
Heartthrobs with Flo.
What happened? What happened?
Lavin, the show Alice. Remember the show Alice?
Yeah, I love that show. Yeah.
Yeah, Linda Lavin, I guess, passed away today.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was a good show. It was Vic Tayback, wasn't it? Played
Mel.
Mel.
He was Mel.
Yep.
Mel, you can kiss my grits.
Right.
Oh, I love
it.
it.
Great show.
Flo, Alice, and I think there was a quiet one named Vera.
Yes, Vera. Kind of a dingbat, a la Edith Bunker. I think that's what. I think that's what Mel.
I wonder how old she was. She had to be like in her
She
was working on a series. She was still very active with acting too. She was just doing something. Yeah, wow. She was just wrapping up a series on one of the streaming channels. So she was a very busy, very busy lady.
I think Frankie Valli is going to be by me in I think May, and I think he's turning 91 in May.
Wow.
Oh, what do you mean? You're going to go see him?
I saw him 2 years ago when he was 88.
He played in Connecticut last year.
This very old man, shuffles out to the stage, and all of a sudden, working my way back to you. And I mean, I guess there's rumors now that like now they're lip syncing.
Really?
But it sounded very spontaneous. It was a great show.
I bet
mean,
he's a talented guy and a
got
good
like
actor
a
too.
really unique voice.
And a good actor. He was on, remember he was on The Sopranos. He was the mayor of Munchkinland. And they asked if they took him out. They said something about, the mayor of Munchkinland is gone or something. He was on the opposing side or something in the mob. But
I'm trying to think about people like what was his name? Burton Mustin, the actor that played on Leave It to Beaver, the Gus the fireman.
The old guy, yeah. He was on,
I think he was well
too.
into his 90s when he was acting.
Yes, he was on Andy Griffith as well,
Right.
believe it or not. And he was everywhere, Burt Mustin. I know exactly, yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that's the secret to eternal youth. Just keep yourself busy.
I'm going to go see him. I'm going to make it a point to go see next year Engelbert Humperdinck.
Is he?
I'll sing you to sleep after the loving. Was that it? No.
Well, I know Tom Jones is still performing, right? And he's, I think, in his mid-80s.
Yeah.
Yes.
Phil, you got that deep voice, Phil. I bet you a lot of girls have fallen asleep on your chest as you sing.
My mom had the hugest crush on both Engelbert and Tom Jones.
There you go.
Yeah, my mother too.
Unusual to be.
And she she loved their voices and just their music and everything. Yeah, I know Tom Jones had the variety show on TV for several years. When I remember, like in the late '60s.
Tom Jones and Engelbert Humperdinck had the same agent. They hated each other. If you ever
really,
they had the same agent, couldn't stand each other. I don't even think they reconciled all these years.
Wow.
No kidding.
Wow. What a shame. That no reason for that.
Yeah.
Two great artists, though, for sure.
Yeah, they both are. I mean, icons. You use the word legend. They're truly legends.
Yeah.
But getting back to our case here, real quick. A 2016 retrial, and I don't get this. It ends in a 3-3 hung jury, which is one of the adult films I starred in many years ago. I mean, how could 3 people vote this woman not guilty? I don't understand.
I don't get it. I don't get it.
Again, these in the context of the times, even back then, seemingly 8-9 years ago now, reality TV kind of blurred everyone's perceptions too, I think. I mean, again, the backdrop of the cops show being filmed there and this crazy story that she produced, it resonated with some people, I think. I mean, we now have the advantage of hindsight too, and we probably would be able to see this even as it unfolded before us. But she sadly can be compelling, and some people just fall under that, that the manipulation. It's interesting. We look at her voice when she was arranging the hit, how cold and calculated it was, right? And then you hear her speaking from the perspective of seeking sympathy. She gets that little sweet girl voice. She has a little lisp too, so very manipulative.
Yeah.
Then she got a new lawyer for the second and third trial. She went out to Hollywood and got a lawyer.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then on her,
he sold the same angle, right? The reality show angle.
Yeah. It was the only thing they really had, I think.
Yeah.
It was really,
and then the third trial.
I think Dave made a very good point. Like, what else do you have? You're like caught dead to rights. You have no other defense. Dave, that's really a good point. I like that. You're like, what else can you do but try to bullshit your way through it?
I mean, a lawyer's not stupid. They're going to sit, they're going to sit in their private den or their office while they're trying to sit there and say, "Hey, I gotta defend this dope that's on video. What am I going to do? I want to check, so hey, I'll make something up."
Yeah. I mean,
but the second lawyer threw that out. He used another defense. I forget what it was. He came up with a different defense for the second and third trials. He didn't use that defense in the second and third trials.
Well, so the second one was the 3-3 hung jury, and then Brittany, what happened in the 2017?
Yeah, so that was the third one in 2017, and she finally gets convicted and sentenced to 16 years in jail.
Thank God. Jeez.
I'm going to tell you something. The best, this was beautiful. The best thing out of all of this, out of everything, when me and my daughter were watching the third trial,
Yeah.
was when she was convicted, and you should have seen Deep Throat's face. She couldn't believe it. Her mother come up like she was friggin' stunned. Like she's talking to her mother. She's already convicted. She's talking to her mother. The mother comes up. They're all crying, and they're trying to. The court officers are trying to lead her away, Deep Throat away, and she's not leaving. She kind of won't leave, and they kind of got to force her to go. And the whole time they're forcing Deep Throat to go, she's looking to the mother and to whoever was the mother. Like that was so beautiful. Go look at the third trial when they convict her and watch the last minute.
That's
last
one
minute
thing
of it.
we haven't talked about the mother. So her mother, is her mother an enabler, or is Dalia just able to manipulate the mother, or both?
I think it's a little of both.
Yeah, I don't know too much about the mother. I don't know what she did for work. She had a nice house, but I guess you're going to stand by your kids, I guess. I don't know,
Right. I mean, she
But
bought it all. She bought every last bit of it.
Go look at that third trial. Watch the last, when they convict her and she gets up and just the last minute, she didn't want to leave the courtroom. They kind of had to push Deep Throat to go out. It was beautiful. That was the best part of the whole thing. That was the best part.
I gotta watch that now.
And I know a Florida Supreme Court rejected her appeal for a new trial in 2019. I think she's out of appeals. She's
Got
scheduled
16 years.
Yeah, she's going to be released August 24th, 2032. At what point she'll be 50. And she cannot get early release. She cannot get early probation or early parole.
Good.
So she's
Thank
locked
God.
up for the next at least 8 years. We won't have to hear about her anymore.
Yeah. And may I say one thing? May I say one thing too?
Yeah.
I just want to bring this up because I know we don't have much time left. God bless Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Yes.
Jimmy Carter's mother was a huge wrestling fan. Wrestling was a big deal in their house. I saw many pictures of him.
Didn't she like wrestling too, Johnny Walker?
Yeah, she has many pictures with Mr. Wrestling too. She used to go to the matches down in Georgia. Big wrestling fan. Wrestling was a big part of the Carter household.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean the guy lasted, right? I mean, didn't he very recently celebrate his 100th birthday, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I just wanted to bring that up because his mother was a big wrestling fan.
Huge. I mean, he did so many things after his presidency.
Yeah.
I mean, huge humanitarian. Talk about keeping busy. The man, kept busy he was out of the White House, in 1980? And
I think he was too. I think he was too nice. I think he was just too nice of a genuine person to be in the White House. It was too. I think it was too overwhelming for him. He just. That's just my opinion. He was just.
I would agree with that. I don't think he was the typical politician. He was just, a nice, hardworking man. I don't think politics was really the right place for him.
And he was, and I quote, it's something that doesn't go well in Washington. He was honest.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm not a Democrat, so for me to say something good about a Democrat, you really got to be nice. He was a great man. Him and his wife. They did,
And they were married for 77 years or something ungodly.
Yeah.
Imagine.
Yep.
And she passed away. I'm not sure. A couple of years ago, or
no, was it? I thought it was like a year ago. Not too long ago, she passed away. I could be wrong.
Yeah, when that happens, when you're married that long and one goes, it's usually pretty quick.
Yeah.
That the other one follows suit because what if you lost your whole life there.
I won't have that problem. I've never been married. I just girls come and go. I guess.
Hopefully they do more of the first.
Yeah, yeah, not too many are knocking on the door these days. I guess you got to have the hair like you got. You know what I mean? The long Hulk Hogan flowing locks you got there.
I don't know. I didn't hear any. The only door knock I heard was Papa John. So I don't know. I guess we'll see. It's a new year coming up. So guys, this one was a lot different than most of our cases because there wasn't a dead body.
Right.
What do you think happens with this woman when she gets out of prison in 2032?
I think she better change her name or she's not going to get a date.
Hey, if she's watching, call Dangerous Dave. Maybe we can set up a phone line for you. $10 a minute. Who knows? I feel she's gonna go back to her old ways.
I don't think she's going to change it. I don't think she's ever going to own this. And I wonder if I wonder if Phil left us. Hang on. There he is.
Yeah, he's gone.
There he is.
Oh, there he is.
Yep. So yeah, Phil, we're just saying that what do we think is going to happen with when she gets out of prison in 2032? She's going to be 50.
Yeah.
I don't think she's going to change one bit. I wonder if she's got the Jodi Arias thing going on now, where people are writing to her, sending her money, and her putting money in her commissary account.
I'm wondering I'm wondering if she's doing OnlyFans right now. Is that possible?
Can they do that in prison?
I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, it is Florida, so I mean, I don't know.
Only bars or something like that. Yeah, I mean,
the whole new genre could be open here, and boy, oh boy, I think she'd do okay, believe it or not.
You cut a deal, and maybe like she gets to keep half, and the prison gets half, and
yeah, there you go.
Get some library.
I'd like to know what happened to Phil. Phil, was there a pizza delivery on the door? A female hitchhiker knocking on the door?
I don't know. No. I get booted off. I don't know why. I thought it happened to you guys. I thought we had a hard stop or something. Everyone disappeared, but that never happens either. But I was knocking on the backstage door for a while, but I'm glad I'm back in here.
Well, I got to tell you on the air, like I've been to the gym 45 times this month.
What?
And, yeah, keep in mind that I had to do a home show, so that was 3 days I couldn't do it.
Wow.
And then of course Christmas the gym was closed, but I've been doing weights in the morning and cardio in the afternoon, and I've been watching a lot of. I watched last night Jay Cutler doing his pre-Olympia diet. I get a kick out of watching guys eat.
Benny, I've known him since 1994. He used to work out at Gold's Gym in Worcester.
Wow. Yeah,
back then, Benny, 93 even. Back then, he was just a freak, just unbelievable. He only trained legs once a month back then, and you saw those unbelievable. Yeah, he's from Massachusetts. He's a Central Mass kid. Yeah, we knew, man, we knew back then. We knew,
something special.
Yeah,
but, it's really funny. I was told, I think about 10 years ago, by a chiropractor, because I have some pretty messed up stuff going on in my back.
Yeah.
And he said, don't ever do a squat again. Well, guess what I did today?
You were squatting.
Yep. And you know what? It felt really good.
Light squats are all right, Benny. Leg press puts a lot of pressure on your back, so be aware. Leg press is very dangerous.
I am very proud to say I'm a member of the 500-pound squat club, but that was a long time ago.
Right, man.
But yeah, I just did 100. I did 135, and I just did reps, and I used really good form, and I'll just slowly ratchet it up.
Good for you.
That's I think that's fantastic. You don't need a resolution then, huh?
No, that is. I will be 70 on June 24th. I know it's hard to believe, but my goal is to be in the best shape of my life, and I am working like a fiend. I got my diet dialed in. The Papa John's wasn't for me. I had a ribeye at about 3:00 with some. What did I have? Riced cauliflower.
Sounds good.
I'll have a Chobani Oikos, rather 000 yogurt.
Yeah.
Before right after the podcast. But cut down on the vino. I figured that 2 glasses of wine, unless my math is wrong,
a lot of sugar there.
Actually equates to 30 pounds a year, because assuming a glass is 150 calories, so times 2 is 300, times 30 days is 9,000. There's 3,500 calories in a pound, so that's 2.5, right? Roughly times 12 is 30.
You're 5,000% right.
Yeah. Yeah, I think didn't Michael say he was 5,000% happy with the verdict?
I think so.
That was very apropos. I was definitely like a touche.
Speaking of those kinds of figures, she chiseled the $8,000 hit price down to $7,000. That could have been her undoing right there.
Yeah,
She
I was wondering, like, did she,
you know?
I was waiting for her to go in her purse. Like, I have a coupon, you know.
I know, right?
I got a Groupon for a hit.
From Hitman Monthly, yes.
Right, yeah, you accept coupons? Yes, just $1,000 off. Introductory offer.
It's
that was. I mean,
unbelievable.
God, what nerve? I mean, I just
indeed, what nerve to think she could get a hit for 4 figures, ultimately mid 4 figures, or thereabouts. Unbelievable.
Hey, it's too bad it was on tape. I would have went down $2,000, and I don't have a belt on my pants, and the rest.
Right, exactly.
No. That's just me.
She was sitting on a boatload of cash, though, right? She had 100 large that she pilfered from him. So, I mean, you would have thought she would have been very generous. It's like, look, I'll give you 15 grand, but like, you gotta, this has got to be airtight. I mean, she just was, she was trying to knock off that $1,000 or whatever she lowered it by, and
I'm telling you. Just go, everybody out there in True Crime podcast land. I'm telling you, go look at the third trial when they convicted her the last minute while they were trying to get her out of the courtroom the look on her face that made the whole thing worth it. Like, there you go, bitch.
You guys popped when you saw that, I bet, huh, Dave?
I'm telling you, like, this is beautiful. Look at that. She's
love it.
Just saying shit to her mother, and she didn't want to go, and just. Like, now she knows she's going, and she's going for 16 years. They didn't allow her to go out again like they did before. They brought her directly to jail, and she couldn't believe it. And she's kind of like struggling not to go with the court officers while she's talking to the mother, and finally they just took her, and off she went. That was beautiful.
Well, even I marveled when she was in the interrogation room. She goes, "Well, I want to go home now." It's like, you're not going home. Like, what are you kidding me? I'd like to go home now. What do I need to do to go home? There's nothing you can do to go home.
I hope there's not male corrections officers where she's going, because, well, it's going to be freebies.
You know that if there's something to be worked, she's working it. I mean, this is the ultimate. Yeah, this is the. I think more than even Jodi Arias, and I know Suzanne Smith, the woman who murdered her 2 kids. She was known to be a very ardent manipulator, and even at a case that I would like to do. I don't know if you guys remember Diana Downs, the one from Oregon.
Oh, very well.
Yeah, another one. I think she worked the guards in prison.
She allegedly has started a Bible group or something, and has been quite the model inmate, and quite focused on her Bible studies now. So maybe. I don't know. I'd like to believe. Yeah, I want to believe, but a little bit of me says, don't you believe? But I shall not judge. I just won't believe.
These stupid corrections officers, what they should do is, like, when they have these nice-looking women in prison, is punch out and go home, get dressed, come back, sign in as a guest, as a conjugal visit. Here, I'm here to see so-and-so, and then do your duty and then leave. You got to do it off the clock.
Right. Maybe put on a Mil Mascaras mask or something like that. No, I actually, if I was going to do that, I would go as the Masked Superstar.
Honey, it's your favorite luchador.
I would definitely go as a Masked Superstar. Yeah.
Where are you from, sir? Mexico.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
That way, when you get called in and they say, "Hey, you're having sex with the inmates, the female inmates," you say, "Well, I'm not on the clock. I went home. I punched out and went home and came back."
And now what you just said reminds me of one of my favorite Seinfeld episodes when it was George. The boss says, "Mr. Costanza, we've received reports that you had sex with the cleaning lady on top of your desk." Was that wrong? It's like, right? Like that. I love that.
Wasn't in the employee handbook, he said.
Right. Yeah, that's it. God, was that wrong? I gotta take a pass here. Like I didn't know it was wrong. But yeah,
If
I
somebody
mean,
told me it was wrong, I wouldn't have done it, he said.
right, exactly. I mean, come on. He's a rule follower. Somebody just had to spell it out to him.
That's right.
Love George.
All right, guys. Well, let's call this one a wrap. Again,
All right. Fun.
So, yeah, thanks to everybody in the chat room as well as
Thank
the
you.
millions and millions
And millions.
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 around the world, and we have a lot. We will never run out of cases. As long as you guys are here to listen, we'll keep serving them up. So make sure you subscribe to the Monty and the Pharaoh channel, YouTube channel, so you don't miss any notifications. Don't forget to join yours truly and Dan Sebastiano tomorrow night at 7 for Dan and Benny in the Ring. This week, Dan and I will be joined by a very noted wrestling historian and a good friend, Nikita Brezhnikov.
What a good voice he has, too.
Oh, love Nikita.
Great voice.
Great book, When It Was Real.
Yeah.
One of my favorite books. So, for the bad girl, for Dangerous Dave, for the president, this is
Happy New Year.
Telling everyone to stay safe. See you next crime, and Happy New Year.
Merry
Happy
New Year.
New Year.
Bye, folks.
Thank you.